Today we're talking about kids and motorcycles, and do you stop riding once you start having kids? So let's hit it. All right, so this topic was inspired by one of the subscribers. Shout out to Jay. He hit me up a couple months ago, and I'm just going to read it. He said, "Yo, John, hope all is well. Have a question for you. My wife and I just had our first baby. She's over 3 months now. Congrats on the baby. I haven't been able to bring myself to ride since she got pregnant, and I'm thinking about selling my bike. I love Harleys and I love riding, but I'm worried I'm going to get slammed at some point and get injured and not be able to be there for my fam. Did you go through this at all when you first had kids? And if so, how'd you get past it?" First of all, congrats on the kid. Second of all, I don't know what you were thinking coming to John's Moto Garage for advice, because anybody who knows me, you guys know I'm a complete idiot. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. But that's a great question, and we're gonna unpack it a little bit, talk a little bit about it. So yeah, big question. Do you stop riding once you have kids? And that's obviously a personal decision. It's gonna be different for everybody. But there's a lot going on there, and really what it comes down to is you've got this conflict, right? Because you've got to a point in life where your priorities are shifting. And where riding maybe used to be like number one or very high up on that priority list, now all of a sudden your mindset's changed a little bit because you got a kid coming into this life, a baby. I think for all of us at some point we experience this where you feel like you have to abandon or let go of your passions, or maybe a passion of yours that's part of your identity. You have to decide, is it worth it or not? And like I said, ultimately it comes down to the individual. So my personal experience, when I first got married and started having kids, I still rode, and I was an idiot. I used to zip through traffic on a sport bike, no gear. I was a complete idiot. I don't know how I managed to survive, but I did. And I kind of got out of riding initially more for logistical reasons. Like for me, commuting on a bike in Arizona it wasn't fun. One way that I coped with it is I was always buying and selling bikes anyway, so I would still satisfy that itch to ride. I wasn't commuting on a regular basis. But a couple thoughts on it. So for one, if you do ultimately decide that riding is no longer a priority or no longer something you want to do, that's okay. Like, it's okay to put different things on the back burner or on the sidelines for a little bit. For example, I used to be heavy into skateboarding, and eventually I got to the point where I realized skateboarding no longer has so much importance to me now like it used to. And maybe later on in life, there's always going to be motorcycles, there's always going to be the opportunity to get back into it if you decide later on that's what you want to do. Another option is, if you really love riding and you don't want to give that up, you can get into other types of riding, like adventure riding, or get yourself a Honda Grom. Get into riding that's not maybe as dangerous as commuting in heavy traffic in Phoenix, for example. And some people will just continue business as usual and keep riding, and you live with the risks. You can also do things to minimize the risk, such as wearing proper gear, maybe going out and taking courses to try to be a better rider. So there are options. At the end of the day, it is possible to keep riding and to have kids, no doubt. But if you're not having fun riding anymore, or if your heart's not in it, or if it just doesn't work with your situation and the risk isn't worth the reward, then you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what's best for the family. And if there's one thing I've learned in life, is that life is unpredictable. And there are so many times where I look back and think, man, there's no way 5 years ago that I ever would have imagined I'd be doing whatever I'm doing now. You may feel like you're giving something up now, but in the long run, you may not really be giving up as much as you thought you were. And hopefully what you continue to do is enjoy life. That's the biggest thing. You got to enjoy life, find what it is that gives you that passion, that drive to wake up in the morning, gives you that sense of fulfillment, whatever it is that you need to enjoy this experience. And whether that's motorcycles that brings you that, or hanging out with your family and enjoying this, new baby, which enjoy the time with this new baby, man, because I know it's cliche, bro, but they do grow up fast. It's crazy. And here's one thing I'll give you as far as parenting. This is what I tell every new parent from my experience, the little bit of wisdom that I impart. Embrace and enjoy every phase, because you can look at each phase as having its own unique challenges, which they do. Obviously, if you look at the positive and the good of each phase, then you can really enjoy parenthood and just have a blast with it. But anyway, back to the topic on hand. Yeah, do what's best for you. Having kids is not synonymous with giving up your passions. I think that's the big takeaway.
Oh, one more thing I was going to mention. The awesome thing as well is you will get to a point maybe where you start to share that passion of writing with your kids, or you start to get your kids into it too. And that's just a whole nother experience, you know. It's pretty awesome being able to see your kids enjoying things that you enjoyed, but also watching your kids enjoy whatever it is they enjoy, even if it's not motorcycles, you know, whatever it ends up being.
All right, you guys, we did it, man. We pulled it off. I've been thinking about doing a video like this for months, ever since Jay sent me that question. And I've sat down and done take 1, take 2. Who knows, maybe this one will never make it, but hopefully it does. I think we did all right.